what it was. Y'all know who it is. And y'all tuned in with Priceless Knowledge itself. And I figured I'd put y'all down with a little cosmic insight for today. And say, man, it's Friday. And so it's time to start a new journey. And this particular journey, man, it's the most wanted, most requested shit that I've had, man. So here it is, y'all. We're going to jump into these rising or ascendant signs. And it's only fitting that we start with my shit. So this right here, this is a little something about those people that have Libra rising in their natal chart. And before I even go there, I want y'all to understand a few things first, okay? One is you can't put anybody in a box, man. This is just a generalization, man. There's a whole bunch of aspects and varying factors that can make things totally different than what the fuck I'm telling you. You understand? Also, you know, for instance, like my first house is split right down the middle between Libra and Scorpio. And I have Pluto in the first house. So, yes, I'm a Libra rising, but I definitely come across a lot more Scorpionic a lot of the times than I do, you know, Libra-esque. So just take things into consideration, okay? And so besides that, what I'm also going to do is give y'all a little breakdown about the Ascendant in astrology. So y'all know what we fucking with, okay? Even if it gets on your nerves. I'm going to do that every time. So just deal with it. So here we are. So the Ascendant or the rising sign is the sign that was rising up from the east at the exact moment that you were born. And whatever degree that it's at is where your first house starts in your natal chart. And that's why knowing the exact time of birth is fucking essential in accurately interpreting a birth chart, man. You know, you can tell some small things with just the sun and the moon, but when you want to set the table, that's what you're going to need. You're going to need that rising sign. Like I said, it puts all the houses in place, which really kind of tell the story of your life if you interpret it correctly. It plays a big part of the big three that consists of the sun, the moon, and the rising or ascendant, as I just said, which, you know, they really make up the basis of your personality. So the ascendant is how you come across to others. It's it's your outward personality, pardon me. It's the sign that you kind of seem like to other people. It also has a lot to do with your appearance in a broad sense and how you carry yourself. It's kind of like when people see you, they say like, that's a so-and-so sign, or that's a so-and-so sign. You know what I mean? It's the energy that you project outwardly, man, in a way. And also, whatever planet that rules your ascendant sign, that's considered as your chart ruler. And that shows a lot about your personality and how you like to rock, man. And if you pay attention to wherever house that your chart ruler is placed in, that's also going to speak to how you manifest that energy that's coming from your first house. And I also like to say that, you know, the rising is the vehicle that you use to get to the sun sign, whereas the moon sign is kind of like the engine. You know, it's the guts. It's what you are inside. You know, the rising sign is the mask that you put on. You understand? And so after I tell y'all this about what that is, now I'm finna give y'all a little bit about the personality, and then I'll set the table for y'all with the houses, just so you understand, okay? So the first word that comes to mind for me about Libra rising motherfuckers is finesse. Cause from the way that they talk to the way that they carry themselves and even the way that they look, man, they pretty much embody and exemplify that to a T. Yeah. With Venus ruling the chart, they're usually some of the most appealing and attractive people that there are in the broad sense anyway. Cause they usually have very well balanced and symmetrical features. And I can also say that with Scorpio rising, people talk about the eyes and that gaze that they have and how they can look you right into your soul. But with Libra rising, what I've observed is they have some of the most beautiful mouths that there are. You know, those lips, they're usually full and sensuous. And even if not, they usually have some of the most sensually shaped mouths that there are, man. Yeah. what that mouth do. There's something about that mouth, man, that's very Venetian and sensual. And I like it. I hope you do. Moving on though, they usually have very well balanced and even complexions too. Pretty skin. And even if they aren't the most beautiful motherfucker physically, man, like their personality is gonna be charming. Libra rising people are made to love, man. Like that's what they're made for, man. They are going to be pleasant. You know, as a matter of fact, I was thinking about this time I was arguing with somebody that's an Aries ascendant, and we were into it. It was early in the morning. I told her, I said, man, people like me. I'm pleasant. So why don't you lose your fucking attitude? And that touched the nerve, boy. She got right on my ass. But that's kind of true, man. That's what Libra risers are about. They're about being pleasant, man. You know, personality wise, they're going to be polite and charming and usually gracious. And that's important to them. They definitely ain't the type to go back and trip about their order at Mickey D's. And they'll probably be appalled if you do so. Like, that's something that'll piss me the fuck off. Like, do not call for the manager. Don't do none of that Karen shit. Don't do none of that Aries, Capricorn shit while we in the store. Don't start cussing people out and talking shit, man. Because I just really don't like coming across like that. Even to the people that I'm angry with, they would say that I'm obnoxiously polite when I'm upset, man. And I know what I'm doing. I'm pressing buttons. But that's kind of the bag that you're going to get with a Libra rising. I can say that. And they probably stay in the motherfucking mirror too, cause they know they look good, and they've probably heard it their whole lives how beautiful they are. Or, you know, there's something about them that's probably been complimented their whole lives, and they assume this role and they make sure they take care of themselves. I can also say that, like, Libra rising people are gonna be some of the flyest motherfuckers that there is, man. Like, the way that they dress, it's an artistic expression for them. You understand? Like, they dress strategically. They step out knowing how they looking according to how they feeling. A lot of them have dimples, you know, but when I'm talking about the personality, the main thing I want to say is, you know, they want to be polite and charming and pleasant. But this is the scales. So they might be argumentative. They can be argumentative. Like, they like to debate shit. And this is cardinal air. So they want to communicate. They have to communicate. And they're probably experts at it. They have a way with words like none other, man. Think about it. The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, that's a Libra riser, man. Jennifer Aniston, that's a Libra rising, man. Britney Spears, Tom Brady, John Mayer, Denzel Washington. That's a Libra rising, man. Think about how they come across, man. Yeah. They kind of play, ain't they? Some of them, did I say they might have dimples? Yeah, some of them might have dimples. And another thing is, like, they're gonna know how to talk. They have the gift of gab. Like, they want to be somebody that comes across well. That is important to them. And, like, they're very nice. That's just how it is. So much so that a Libra rising is the type of motherfucker that, like myself, you might get yourself in trouble in your relationships because, like, you be dealing with people and you're just being nice. And to them, they think you want them. Or if you have a significant other, it looks like you being a little too motherfucker friendly. But you're just being a Libra rising. You're just being you, man. You're attractive. You're charming. You're pleasant. That's who you are. And so that's kind of what that's about when you have a Libra rising, man. And so let's move on a little bit. And there's so much more I could touch on, but you got to understand, man. Like, there's only so much time I got. And also, like, each person is different. There's so many things that affect who you are and how you project your personality. This is just a generalization. And so let's set the tables, because that's actually what your rising sign does, is put your houses in place. And what you need to understand about Libra risings in particular is, with this being the 7th house, ruling the 1st, that means everything in their chart is ass backwards. Every, sign is placed in the opposite house that it's not at home in. So what does that mean? That puts the scales into play. That means you need to bring balance into your life. And it's there because it's in the opposite signs of the opposite house. You don't have any overabundance of any of that energy, but what you do with it is what you do with it. You got to understand, you have to find that balance. The energies are always there, and with you, it's there particularly well. But when you're a Libra rising, your mission in this life is to find balance. You understand? In everything, in every aspect. It's crazy. For instance, like, I have an Aries North Node in the 7th house. That means I need to find my motherfucking self and be about my motherfucking self, but still maintain healthy relationships. You understand? That Libra rising will get you into some trouble. So, moving on. As we said, the 1st house, this is the house of self. This is how you appear. This is you. This is ruled by Venus. And, what that says, Libra ruling your 1st house, it says that you're diplomatic, man. You're good at conflict resolution. You're a people person. You're charming and pleasant. Like we've already said, you probably look good to the eye, man. Like, you come across well, and you're made to love. You're probably very relationship oriented. That's what you're about. Okay. And like, you're usually not very confrontational. Now, there's other things that could affect that, because you have to understand your sun sign and your moon sign especially. That's who you really are inherently. So when you pay attention to that, like, that takes things to another level. So 1st house, Libra. That's kind of everything that we just talked about in the description that I came before. The 2nd house is Scorpio. This is your values and your possessions in this life. And what this says to me is that you are a shrewd businessman, and, you're uncomfortable with not having shit. You know what I mean? And your financial situation, it changes and transforms constantly. You know what I mean? You've seen the very lowest and depths of the low, and you can survive there. But you also are on pace to get somewhere very high in this life with Scorpio in that 2nd house. And I can also say this, that the money that you get, it probably came from inheritance, or it could have came from inheritance, or from your significant other, or other people's money, and however way you got that in business, that would make you an awesome salesman. Like, you're good at getting other people's money, man. And that's kind of what that is. And it also shows that you have seen death in your possessions. Like, you can have had nothing, but you could also go to the top and have everything. It's all about you. And so your 3rd house is Sagittarius. And your 3rd house is your communication. It's kind of how you think. Okay. And so, and it has a lot to do with your learning style either, and your siblings, especially your younger siblings. And so your 3rd house Sagittarius, you learn from your siblings. You teach your siblings. It could even mean that you might actually have a sibling that's a Sagittarius, like I do. My little sister's a Sagittarius. And you're a philosophical speaker. You love to talk about the meaning of life. You know what I mean? You are wise with the way that you speak and in your words. Like, you don't want surface level knowledge. You seek wisdom. That's what that means, which is awesome, because Gemini energy or 3rd house energy, it can be a little superficial. And the 9th house energy, that's wisdom beyond. You know what I mean? So you have wisdom beyond in your way that you're thinking. And the way that you speak is very philosophical. I can say that. And you probably taught your younger siblings a lot, and they learn from you, and maybe even likewise. And 4th house, this is Capricorn. The 4th house is your home life. Maybe even represent the relationship you had with your mother or your least dominant parent, which is crazy for me because this is 4th house Capricorn. My dad, and the 4th house is ruled by the moon also, by the way. And my dad, you see, he has a Capricorn moon. And here I am. My 4th house is Capricorn. And so, well, half-assed, because my shit is split in half. But we're not talking about my chart. We're talking about a Libra rising. So, 4th house Capricorn. You probably had a very structured home life when you were young. Like, your parents disciplined you. And they made you do chores. Like, you had duties around the house. And in doing so, accordingly, you kind of run your house the same way. Like, you have a structured home, or you want a structured home, and you're building that. You know, whatever happens to you, it doesn't knock you down either with Capricorn there. It builds you up. You get what I mean? Like, you are building something there. And I can also say that you, in this way, you're more, if you're a mom, then you're more like a dad. And if you're a dad, you're probably a lot more like a mom to your kids. It works in that balance. Like I said, it puts the opposite sign in the opposite house right here. So you got 4th house Capricorn, where the 10th house is usually ruled by Capricorn. And so the 5th house, this is Aquarius. And, you know, you are very different in abstract creativity. You know, you stand out for being different, man. And you do things outside of the norm. Like, hey, you can't be put in the box with the way that you rock, man, the way that you love to create things. Like, you have an abstract mind. And you also, the way that you are, you just different. You know, when you get on stage, you're going to be noticed for being just different. Like, you're going to stick out like a sore thumb in a good way. You know what I mean? And also, like, you create with your mind. You get what I'm saying? This is Aquarius here. This is air energy here in the house of Leo in the fire house. You know what I mean? And when oxygen hits fire, it just blows it up. So this is a hell of a placement right there, man. Like, you just think differently. And the things that you create, you know, they're out of this world, man. They're out of this world. And 6th house is kind of going along with it. Your 6th house is Pisces. And, you know, your routine consists of subconscious things. And I could also say that you probably can't be on time anywhere. Your health and well-being are really based on your spirituality and how you're feeling internally. Like, if you're not doing well internally, like, you're not doing well physically. And so that can really affect your health. And, you know, you really want to transcend reality. And you don't have many enemies either, because the 6th house is also about your enemies. Meaning that, like, with Pisces here, man, like, you're here to love everybody. And if you do have enemies, like, you'd rather just get the fuck away from that shit. Pisces 6th house goes right along with the unconfrontational style of Libra rising, basically. And that doesn't mean that you're punks or you're soft, man. So understand that. Understand that. You just need to understand that, you know, maybe reality is the dream with the 6th house Pisces. And moving on to the 7th house is where shit gets rough for you. You know, that's Aries. And so that means you are attracted to aggressive ass, assertive ass people that probably might try to run over your ass. That's just kind of what you like, man. You like somebody that knows how to take charge. And you are absolutely not attracted to weak people. If you got a 7th house Aries, man. Like, you might even have somebody that's selfish and might try to dominate your ass. And you're always going to have conflicting relationships or contemptuous relationships. Like, you're going to have argument-laced relationships, man. And you might like it like that. Like, you feel the passion that way. But you're definitely going to have, like, a battle of wills there. And hey, man, it is what it is. That's just what you choose. And so, moving on, you have, in your 8th house is ruled by Taurus. The 8th house is sex, death, you know, depth, transformation, how you find these things. And so, I say that you're super protective and loyal to your hidden self, man. You value your own hidden nature, and, you know, you're even stubborn in your secrecy, and probably real, secretive of your possessions too. Like, you might have some hidden money that you don't tell nobody about. That's kind of what's there with that. And moving on, we got ninth house. Your ninth house is ruled by Gemini. This is the Gemini ninth house in the opposite sign, which is usually ruled by Sagittarius. Your ninth house is ruled by Jupiter. And so you got Mercury here influence Jupiter. And would mean that you probably learned from Geminis, like I did, or from a grandparent. And I had a Gemini grandmother that taught me almost everything I know in an intellectual sense. And I based a lot of my spiritual beliefs off her and the love that she showed me. You know, these people that have ninth house Gemini, they need to communicate their ideas and speak their truths, man. Like, this is what goes on with this, man. Like, these people learn extremely quickly, you know, and they'll find luck, you know what I mean, in learning new things and communicating them. And so you got a Cancer midheaven, or your 10th house is ruled by Cancer. And what this says to me is that, like, you're here to heal and nurture. You are about helping motherfuckers. That's what you're here for. And if you want to be successful in this life, you got to understand that for you, it's not about status or fiscal gains as is it would be for a Capricorn or a Taurus. It's about love and healing. And, you know, wherever you work, your career, it has to be a family environment. You get what I'm saying? Like, you want the people you work with to feel like they at home with you and that they love you and like they can come to you and talk about their problems, man. Like, and with Cancer here, you are a leader. You are a leader. This is cardinal water. It's just, you are probably very emotional about your job. And if you're not doing something that's fulfilling to you spiritually and emotionally, then you're not going to be happy. I can say that. And, you know, I could also say that 6th house Pisces really supports that 10th house Cancer or that Cancer midheaven. Like, hey, man, you're here to love and to help, and you need to employ that, man. And you might even get rich for it, man. Look at me. I'm not getting rich, but I'm following my dream. I'm here to help people, and I've never felt more spiritually nourished and fulfilled because it's not about money, you know. And so, next, your 11th house is Leo. And so what this says is, like, you're a leader in your community. You know, you love to show out and laugh amongst your friends. Like, the way that you might have come across to everybody else, like, in your group, you're the leader. Like, in your group, like, you love to show your ass. In your group, they know you're funny. Like, the way that you are is crazy. And you also benefit from your associations if you have Libra rising. They definitely do. And they express things in groups that, you know, they probably don't express to everybody else. When they alone with their little old group or their little old clique or their gang or whatever the fuck it is, like, they show a whole different side of themselves. And they love to take center stage in that aspect and show out, even if their family is their group. And hey, man, that's beautiful. And lastly, in the 12th house, you got to rule by Virgo. And the 12th house is actually ruled by Neptune or Pisces. And, you know, this is your soul. This is your subconscious. And so you got the soul of a Virgo. That means you might have a perfect soul. You know, your mind is always analyzing and striving for perfection inside. And, you know, you do feel like dreams can be reality. You know, Virgo in the 12th house, they can lose touch with the spirituality though, because their mind is on the real shit. What they think is the real shit. They're also highly intelligent and organized mentally. I could also say that, like, the subconscious is crazy here because, like, for me, I can't really be on time a lot of places with that 6th house Pisces, but at the same time, dig this. If I go to bed at night and I tell myself, hey man, I need to wake up at 7:30 in the morning, you can bet your ass, alarm clock or not, for some reason, 7:26, 7:28, but first, or even at 7:30, but not after, I'm up. I will wake up. It's just, hey, My subconscious is in tune with the routine, man. And the way that it works, it's hard to understand this. I could also say this, if you want to put it in a literal sense, that's kind of scary. And it's definitely not going to happen to all Libra risers, because they definitely ain't been locked up. But the Virgo represents the body, okay? The 12th house can represent being locked away or things that you can't get to or access. And look, I spent a little bit of time behind them walls, y'all. So there's so many things that we could go into, man. I can also say that with Virgo in the 12th house, like, you're not easily tricked. And because as soon as something said to you, in the back of your mind, you put them details together. You might not be a detail-oriented person outwardly, but your inner mind, that's how it works shit out. It breaks through those details. Okay? And so, hey, man, this been a pleasure bringing this to you. You know, there's been a little something about Libra risings, man. Understand, man, that, hey, man, this is just a generalization. But, you already know what's up. Just because you build like that, it don't mean you have to build like that, man. If y'all fooling with me, please like, share, subscribe. Okay? Hit that like button, man. Let me get out there and help some other people that fuck with me too, man. Okay? Hey, if you're interested in astrological readings whatsoever, you can either hit me up in the comments below or email me at mr.turner1300@gmail.com. I know I could go get way further, and I probably will at another time. We'll talk about the chart rulers and the way that those things work. But here we are, man. We're kicking off these rising signs. And next, we're going to bring a little something about those people that have Scorpio rising in their natal chart. So I'll holler at y'all then. Until then, y'all keep it real, man. Holla.